Okay, hi everybody. We are in the sauna this morning, and as you can hear, it is raining again in the North Country. So we've got to deal with that, and so this is a perfect way to deal with it. I'll do some sawing. I am sawing tamarack this morning. I have two orders from two different customers. Both of their names are Tom, and they're both friends of ours. And so these orders are for, one's for a deck and one's for a bridge. We have those 4x6s right over there on the forks of the skid steer that we sawed out. They're 16 feet long. And they're going for the stringers for the one Tom's deck, and then we need 2x for the floor of their deck. Of this bridge was actually taken out with a little bit of a flood we had a couple weeks ago, so he has to replace it. I'm also making these are floor joists for a porch for my other friend Tom, and that's going for his daughter's place, I think. And so we're working on that. So we're gonna saw one log, and then we're gonna head into the barn, and hopefully we'll have some barn stuff to do so we can show some horses today.
So when Tom had put this order in, he had actually asked for some 2x8s, and I said the size of my logs in tamarack were very small. That's just what I had available. So I wondered if he could get by with 2x6s, and he said he could. So that's what we're doing, making mostly 2x6s for him. If you look closely to the right-hand side of my sawmill, you'll see a lot of water dripping down. That is because on the upper left-hand side of my sawmill, there's a white tank up there that has water in it. And we use that to flush the blade. With this tamarack, there's a lot of pitch, or I actually call it resin type of material in the wood that gets on the blade and builds up, and it has to be washed off. I use water for this. Some people will use diesel fuel and other products, but for the amount that I put on it, the water works just fine, and it's cheap. This cut that I'm making right now is a very shallow cut, and that is because I'm hoping to get a 1x4 directly underneath this. But since it's so shallow, there's not enough wood there for me to drag back. So I'm just coming up over the top of it and going to drag it back the next time with the 1x4 that I'll make. My set works, as some of you guys know that have these sawmills, I was set at 2 inches, so I hit the lever and it dropped down to 2 inches. I only wanted it at 1 inch, so I had to actually raise it back up to the right spot.
Well, I don't know if you can see it, but Lady and June and Ken and Bree are out there with the cows. Hopefully they'll be coming in soon and we can do something with them on this rainy day. Will do. He's saying it's a rainy day, so he doesn't want to get up. He's going to snooze today. Okay, we're back in the barn again, guys, and we are hoping that Lady brings June and Bree in here this morning, because I was really hoping to take Bree outside, leading her, but also taking June outside at the same time and leading her. I've never done that before, and I'm just curious how that would have worked, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys would love to see the two young fillies close up side by side, being a year apart. So I'm still hoping to be able to do that here later in this video. But for right now, I wanted to answer a few questions that we've been having on the videos. And actually one question that somebody emailed us, and I'll start with that one first. So this question is from Mark Tufts, and he recently emailed us, and he was wondering about how he could get a new draft horse to go about establishing a trust between him and the horse. And he's been watching my videos, and so he's curious how I go about doing that. And this is a good question, but it's a difficult question to kind of answer in a way. So I would suggest that if you were to get a new draft horse, and if you're new to draft horses especially, and it doesn't really matter if it's a draft horse or a riding horse, whatever horse it is, you have to pretty well start right from the get-go. And I've talked about this before. If you've got somebody you're buying it from direct, or if you're buying it at a sale, you kind of got to be cautious about completely believing every single thing he says about this horse. And even some of the stuff he says about this horse may be totally true in what has happened between him and this horse. But when you get this horse, because you're inexperienced, it's going to be different. So my suggestion would be to start right at the very beginning. So when you're leading this horse, you have to even see to start with if he'll lead good. If he won't lead good, there's no need even trying to get a harness on him, get him working. You need to be able to establish even that first trust in getting this horse to even lead with you, to follow you. You can't expect him to go working in harness if you can't even get him if you're not even able to properly lead the horse. So that's where you have to start. It's a slow process. Most of the time, horses that you buy at sales or even private already know that stuff. So it's just a matter of, right off you can tell that you don't have to be doing a lot of time practicing leading. But a lot of this stuff is also so good for you yourself. If you're inexperienced with horses, you need practice even with the basics. You've got to go to kindergarten before you get to college. And so That's what you have to do. And this little bit over time, day by day, handling this horse will establish that trust that you're looking for in that horse. So maybe I will try to even talk more about it on some videos, how I do that, and even as I'm training my horses, how I get my horses to trust me to do what I want them to do. But good luck with your new horse you're hoping to get, and please ask again for other questions that you might have. So these questions are kind of coming on after my recent horse pull that I had at the fair, and I have had a lot of people really happy with the horse pulls, watching the horse pulls, but I've had quite a few people that are not happy with that, and that's understandable. And I really don't plan or even going to try to persuade people that don't like horse pulls to like horse pulls. I don't care if you don't like horse pulls. That's your right. But I do want to explain a few of the things about horse pulls, and maybe by explaining some of the things about the horse pulls, you won't be quite so against the horse pull, and you might even come to enjoy it sometime. So the one question was this tractor that is pulling the boat back. This particular pull, they kept it running the whole time. Well, and a lot of people ask, well, that's very distractive for your horses. And it is somewhat, but not that bad. My horses especially, they're used to the skid steer running in here and clean the barns. They're used to other machinery in the woods, the skid steer and the excavator. So that really doesn't bother them too bad. You will notice, though, that my horses and all the horses get pretty excited when they go in there to hitch. And that has really very little to do with that tractor noise. It has more to do with the fact that they know that a horse pull and the adrenaline is there just like any other sport and any other athlete. So that's what's happening with that extra excitement. We also had a question from our recent horse pull about the amount of weight that was pulled at that particular pull. I mean, we were pulling, I think in the team, we got up to like 11,000 pounds. And most of my pulls that I've shown, the weights were in the 7,000 to 8,000 pound range. And it is true, there is quite a difference there. But for some reason, several reasons actually, that particular pull, we always pull a tremendous amount of weight. And one of the reasons is the type of soil they have that the stone boat slides on. It just tends to slide easier. So we just get more weight on. If we happen to have rain in the last 24 hours, the moisture stays there, so it just seems to slide easier. Also, and I didn't even think about so much about this, but one guy commented on, put a reply on, and he said that the smaller the stone boat, the more weight you'll pull, because more or less weight is sitting on the ground. It's just directly on top of each of the blocks. It's more compact. And I hadn't really thought too much about that, but that's so true. And it's a small boat there. So yes, that's another reason why we do tend to pull more down at that particular fair than a lot of the fairs. But to me, it's kind of fun. I love to see that big pile of stones getting bigger and bigger as we're still pulling. And we've actually pulled a lot bigger loads there other years than we did this year. So people had also asked about the different pulling styles between Bill and Baron. So as you're standing in the barn, that's Bill. And at the end of the barn down here, that's Baron. And those are the two I had at the horse pulls this last time. Now, there is a huge difference in the pulling styles. Bill is so experienced, he knows how to place his feet, he knows how to dig right in. He quite often will start the load with both his hind feet kind of going together, and then he just settles right down into 1 foot at a time type of thing. Whereas Baron is inexperienced, and so he kind of tends to crow hop a little bit. In other words, he just kind of jumps with both hind feet as he pushes the load ahead. And that I expect with time, I will get him to learn to not do quite so much of that. And but it's okay to do that. They seem to get a tremendous amount of power when they go in both feet like that. But Bill has the ability to just kind of put one foot right in front of the other and just keep on lugging the load. But that's from experience. So one person asked about, aren't you concerned about having an injury at a horse pull? No, I guess I'm not. Although there is still a risk of an injury. But my horses are used to heavy pulling because they do logging all the time. And yes, there's a risk of injury at logging, just like there'd be a risk of injury for myself at logging. I'm doing a semi-dangerous job. I have that risk. But I feel that there's probably less chance of a risk of injury at a horse pull than logging because of all the, when you're pulling at a horse pull, it's just one kind of open field. Whereas I'm in the woods logging, I have a lot of obstacles that we need to deal with besides the pulling. So there's actually more of a risk in the woods. I honestly cannot recall any horse pull that there was an injury. Well, yes, I can remember one time, can't remember what happened, but I remember the guy coming back to, after pulling a load and quick putting some absorbing on a leg because he felt it might have been injured, but I don't, there's just not, it's fairly rare when there's an injury that occurs at a horse pull. So another person asked if any of my horses were in the heavyweights from the class that we just did recently on this pull. And no, mine were not. I just pulled in the lightweight and then I pulled in the single class. But last year, I didn't have Baron pulling, so I actually pulled with Ken and Bill, and I had to pull in the heavyweight because Ken is too big. So, but they actually won that class last year. We didn't show that on a video, but Ken did really well with Bill, and they won the heavyweights last year. So, but probably Ken's, most of his horse pulling days are done just because I have so many replacements that should be able to do the job without needing him. And so he can kind of take it a little bit easier in his semi-retirement, we're going to call it. So that's it for questions for today. Hopefully in a little bit we'll get these colts in, or fillies, and you can see the progress even on them. Good morning, everybody. Yesterday we were hoping to get the two fillies together, and it rained all day long, so it just did not happen. So we're going to try it this morning. So I'm going to get Bree out of her stall, and Brenda's going to hold June, and I'm going to see about taking these two outside and walking around with them.
You want to follow him, huh? Wait just a minute, Johnny.
Okay, let's see what we can do.
You gonna take them both?
So that's the plan. I wanted to lead them both if I possibly could. Come on, because I wanted you guys to see them together side by side. And these two have been out in the pasture for a week now together. And so they've been kind of getting used to each other outside. So I didn't think they'd be an issue. I didn't know how well they'd work walking together, but I wanted to try it. And it's going pretty good so far, that's for sure. June has actually had more leading experience in the last few months than Bree has. Now, June is, let me think now, she's just about exactly 3 months old. And as you've seen in my videos, I have led around quite a lot. But Bree has had a lot of experience being led also. So there could easily be some issues here, but I'm not expecting too much or too serious. Easy. So I'm curious what you guys are thinking. What changes have you seen in both these gals? June's a little aggressive right here, right now, which is unusual. Come here. Come here. Well, just two. Let's just stand them together for a minute. Okay, let's see. So these two seem to be getting along quite well. Like I said, they've been out to pasture some and been running around together a little bit. So I'm expecting that. Oops, come here. Let's see, we'll swap sides here and lead them back. Easy girl, easy girl. They're not doing as good as they could be, but I didn't expect perfection today with this situation. This is the first time they've done this. Come on, girl. Come on, June. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on, June. Not quite so sure about this, are you? Okay, come here. Good, Bree. Bree, come on, June. Careful. Careful. So this is definitely the poorest June has been as far as leading. And I'm going to try and turn around here. Come on. Come on. And I might even get into trouble. I have to have Brenda lead one of them. Got a car coming here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on, girl. Come on. Come on. Come on. Okay. Brenda, I want you, if you don't mind, lead Bree. Come on, June.
Come on, Bree.
I guess June wants just all of my attention instead of splitting it between her and Bree, because as soon as I took over just her, she's leading fine. But
A little more
Daisy,
rambunctious.
yeah, she is doing pretty good. Go ahead and get behind them and get some close-ups of the two together. That's what I'd like to show. To see the size difference and how much Bree has grown in the last year. See the color differences between the two. Do you think they're going to make a matched pair someday, or is their color going to be quite a lot different? Is their build going to be a lot different? Easy, June. Careful. Oh. Ho. 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 If you stand right there, Brendan, point across. See the height difference? See the height difference between them two? Yes, 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 yes. So there you have it, guys. We've got a 3-month-old and a 1 year plus 3 months old full sisters. Same father, same mother.
Well, we seem to have lost our audio. We had a few more things we talked about, but I guess we'll have to talk about them in another video. So maybe we'll just wait until this evening and do a little footage of the animals outside.
Well, it's early afternoon. We just brought Lady and Bree over. Lady and Bree. Well, we did bring Bree too, but Lady and June over. And we're at the pasture on the other side of the house. First, we brought Ken and Bree out. And there's lots of feed over here. Right now they seem to be segregating, and the lady seems to want a little space to herself. But I'm sure they'll stay in close proximity. This is just the kind of grass they absolutely love. So we hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for coming along with us today. We appreciate it. Have a great, great day.
Whoa. Whoa.